When we talk about the greatest stories in gaming, there are a few titles that stand out, legends really, that have done more than just entertain. They've redefined what's possible, and right there at the top sits Uncharted.
Done here.
I recently played through the entire mainline series, revisiting Nathan Drake's story from beginning to end, and I think I've come away with an even deeper appreciation for why this franchise is still so powerful. This isn't just a story about treasure hunting, it's about identity, legacy, and the consequences of obsession. So, let's look back at each chapter on this journey and unravel how Uncharted became a timeless story. We start with Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Released during the early days of the PlayStation 3, this game was a massive achievement in terms of technology and set the foundation for everything to come. At the time, it was a revelation, showcasing what was possible with new hardware. Cinematic cutscenes, smooth gameplay, environments that felt richer than anything before. But playing it in 2024, the limitations are clearer. You'll quickly notice the gameplay loop. Climb, shoot, climb some more, shoot again. It can be repetitive, no doubt. But what hit me was that this tech demo was far more than that. It's a story with a surprising depth, focused on a character who isn't a blank slate, but a flawed, interesting figure. Nathan Drake, cocky, skilled, a little reckless, brings a personality that's hard to ignore. And then there's Sully. As we see this relationship develop, we get glimpses into what grounds Nathan, what gives him purpose beyond treasure. And looking back, Drake's Fortune didn't need to be perfect to leave its mark. It built a foundation. For all its simplicity, it created a world where players genuinely felt like treasure hunters, embarking on an adventure as grand and filled with mystery as any movie. And even though the gameplay feels dated, the impact of the story hasn't faded. Then we come to Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and this is where the series truly finds its stride. The leap from Drake's Fortune to Among Thieves is hard to put into words. This isn't just an improvement, it's a complete transformation. The game opens in style, with Nathan hanging off a train in the snow, a sequence that's as heart-pounding today as it was back then. But it's not just dramatic action, it's the entire world. The story is richer, with more complex characters, and we are introduced to new allies like Louis Fraser, who brought this layered, unpredictable dynamic to the group. Everything about Among Thieves is bigger, bolder, and more immersive. The environments alone, snow-capped mountains, lush jungles, bustling city streets, are more than backdrops. They are characters in their own right, each one telling its own story and keeping you completely invested in what lies around the next corner. And in this game, the stakes feel higher. Nathan's world is expanding, and you can sense that he's up against much more than he expected. This is Naughty Dog realizing the potential of their creation and delivering a game that set a new benchmark for action adventure. Playing it again, I was blown away by how fresh it feels, how every twist and turn manages to hit hard, even now.
Come on, sunshine.
Then came Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, a personal favorite of mine from the PlayStation 3 trilogy. And honestly, this is where the series go from action-adventure to something a little more introspective. In Drake's Deception, we start to dig deeper into Nathan's past. We see his origins, his early encounters with Sully, and finally understand why they are so close. You get a sense of Drake's motivation that you hadn't before, this background that gives his story so much more weight. But while I love this game for diving into the psyche of Nathan Drake, I'll admit there are moments that feel a bit rushed, especially around the origins of Drake and Sully's relationship. You get the gist, but there's this sense that they could have fleshed it out even more. Regardless, this game brought something new in terms of pacing and gameplay. There's much more variety, a bit more freedom in how you approach enemies, and a little more grit on how it all plays out. The enemies are tougher, the stakes are higher, and the whole experience feels fuller. You are not just playing an adventure game, you're exploring the legends and the flaws of Nathan Drake. then we arrive at Uncharted 4 at Thief's End. This, to me, is the culmination of everything Naughty Dog had been building toward. I know it's a big statement, but A Thief's End is more than a great game. It's the Uncharted experience distilled to perfection. For the PlayStation 4 generation, this title is still one of the most visually stunning games out there. Every scene, from the plains of Madagascar to the Pirate Islands, is breathtaking. But graphics aside, A Thief's End takes a bolder approach to storytelling. And Nathan is no longer the same man we met in Drake's Fortune. He's older, a little worn down, and now grappling with his desire for adventure versus his responsibilities. And that's where Sam comes in. Nathan's brother isn't just a new character. He's a ghost from Nathan's past, a symbol of the life he thought he'd left behind. Sam brings out this complex, almost reckless side of Nathan, and we see him wrestle with the thrill of adventure and the danger it brings to those he loves. The story here is deeply personal, exploring Nathan's moral conflicts, the cost of his choices, and what legacy truly means. A Thief's End isn't just about finding treasure, it's about finding closure. This game gave me moments where I genuinely questioned Nathan's decisions, and in doing so, it made him feel more human than ever before. Looking back, each Uncharted game builds on the last, not just in graphics or gameplay, but in emotional depth and character exploration. From the high-octane simplicity of Drake's Fortune to the introspective conclusion of A Thief's End, we've watched Nathan Drake evolve in a way that few characters in gaming have. This isn't just a story of action and treasure, it's a story about obsession, ambition, and ultimately redemption. Uncharted's story is in many ways as much about Nathan's journey into self-awareness as it is about the lost cities and forgotten riches he chases. By A Thief's End, we're not just watching an adventure, we're watching someone come to terms with what that life means. And that's why Uncharted endures. It's a story with layers, one that makes you feel exhilaration and by the end, maybe a little melancholy. Naughty Dog set out to make something thrilling, but they ended up creating a modern legend, one that's only become more meaningful as the years have gone by. If you haven't yet experienced Uncharted, or if it's been a while, I can't recommend it enough. Don't just play for the action, play for the story. Uncharted isn't just about finding lost cities and hidden treasures. It's about the cost of adventure, the weight of legacy, and ultimately, the journey of a man who came to realize that the greatest treasure of all was finding peace with who he was.